Well, good morning. Good morning, beautiful. Um, I'm so happy to be here, and especially about today's topic. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about trust. Yeah? Could you use a little more of it in your life? You know, when we're trusting, when we're feeling trust, and I think, trust and faith sort of go hand in hand together. In order for us to have faith, we need to have trust. And in the case of faith, it's a trust in something that, hey, Angela, welcome. It's in something that we haven't necessarily seen the evidence of yet. But for us to be really at home in our life, we need to cultivate trust. And so, easy to talk about, not so easy to practice. And actually, trust is a verb. And so, if we're waiting to just have trust land on us, we're just waiting for trust to arise sort of naturally within us before we start trusting ourselves and trusting our lives and trusting that things are working out in our highest and others' highest good. If we're waiting for that trust to come from within, sort of like, forget about it. It's actually, trust is something that we cultivate, and we're always practicing trusting something. So, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. So before we dive in, let's just take a moment to settle in and to arrive more fully in presence. And I'm doing the 2-camera thing also, so pardon me for shifting my gaze, but we're going to make it work. We'll take a deep breath in through our nose. Exhale, sigh it out our mouth. And again, we'll take a deep breath in. And exhale, release. And one more like that, breathing in. Holding at the top of our inhale and sipping in a little bit more and holding that. And exhale, release. Good. And then feeling yourself arrive here more fully by coming into your body. So feeling yourself from the inside out. Good morning, Kathleen. So good to see you here. And then allowing your awareness, if you can, to just drop down the length of your spine. Hey, Samantha. Good to see you. Glad you're here. And then you can let your awareness, as if like, you can imagine like a pebble being dropped into a glass of water. And allow the pebble to your awareness to just sink down to the bottom of the glass, right into the bowl of the pelvis. A really beautiful way to practice trust is to train yourself to orient to life from your center. And we're always talking about getting centered. I need to get more centered, but actually it's not a concept in your head. It's actually a practice that's available to you right now. So the pelvic bowl, about 2 inches beneath the navel, is what's called the hara. And this actually does go with trust, so stay with me on this one. The hara is your true center point of gravity, and as you become more aware of it as a felt sense in your own body, and you learn to sustain your awareness there, then you make yourself available to the wisdom that's available in the center of you and the center of all things everywhere. The center of, other beings, the center of all things is inherently more still and stable and connected to source. And so as you're listening to these words, allowing your awareness to abide here and then making the choice right now to receive whatever you're needing to receive from this teaching. Because maybe there's a jewel for you or a gem that's going to help you live today with more connection, more ease, more peace, more natural joy. And I mean, what is better than that? So the question becomes then, when we're thinking about cultivating trust and what it means to trust and how do we practice trust exactly, we want to ask ourselves first, what am I trusting in? And the answer to that question lies in, where is your attention? Your attention, your awareness is your superpower, right? Wherever attention goes, energy does flow. So think about that. Are you trusting in your experience of being? Are you trusting in this moment? Meaning, if you're trusting in this moment, which by the way is the only sane place available to you, it doesn't live in the future, it doesn't live in the past. Hopefully by this time we've seen that to be true in our life, right? No way that we can truly quench our thirst, our longing, our deep, deep desire for ease and for peace and for well-being and for purpose and meaning in our life can ever be satisfied in an idea of the future or the past. Has it ever truly satisfied you to trust in your imaginary self? So just take a moment with that. And if you're like most human beings, you would answer no. It actually creates a lot of suffering. Living in my mind and in my concepts, trusting in the imaginary me, the virtual me that lives in some idea of a future or a past, and learning to orient, who I think I am, how I show up in my life around that conception, around that imaginary me, creates suffering, disconnection. We feel either chronically dissatisfied because we're not there yet. And by the way, you never get there. I'll just save you the drama, right? You haven't gotten there yet. I'm at midlife right now and I haven't gotten there yet. So hopefully we've had enough opportunities to try that out, to try that game out, that when I finally arrive there, I'll be happy. It doesn't arrive. It never will. And one of the regrets of the dying on their deathbed is that they trusted too much in their imaginary self. I mean, this isn't their words, but it's more like I never had enough confidence in myself to actualize my purpose in life. Wow. And we don't want that, right? That's not something that we want on our deathbed. We want more. What you're wanting and why you're tuning into this is you want to trust. You want to cultivate a deep, deep, deep trust in the real you, in the experience of you, right now in this moment. So anytime we can ask ourselves the question, are we trusting in our imaginary self, which inherently leads to suffering and disappointment and chronic dissatisfaction and feeling like I'm never getting there and never feeling like enough, and that just fucking sucks. And I did say the F word, Cassie. They were just making it some way. Anyway, there's just a little joke about me not wanting to curse when I'm on here and just coming close but not quite saying the word, and I just did. And so it's not satisfying. Yes, it's just not. And actually, so much more joy and peace and vibrance and connection exists when you start to choose to trust just this. And how do we trust just this? Well, we pull our attention, which is the only, our awareness is, as I said earlier in this video, gold. It's wherever attention goes, energy flows, right? So if my attention is always going into my ideas of lack, my ideas of not being there yet, or my ideas of all the ways I've screwed up in my life, all of my regrets, if I make that the center of my life, make that what I'm trusting in, then I will live in a chronic state of fear, depletion, right? This typically will cause, depression over time. And this depression is just this real repression we have of our emotions, which when our emotions are tied into our imaginary selves exclusively, then we're on this roller coaster that's like doesn't even exist, right? I think it was Mark Twain that said, most of the scary things in my life have never actually happened. The scariest things in my life, and I'm misquoting him, have never actually happened. Oh gosh, I see a big doorknob there in the painted yogi. Let me adjust my camera angle there. Don't want you looking at a doorknob, but look at these beautiful flowers. Aren't they pretty for spring? Yes. See, when I'm trusting in presence, when I'm trusting in this experience of being me, the real me, you have in you a great capacity for wisdom, for joy, for kindness. You have an essential nature, a Buddha nature, a true you, an authentic you, right? If you really want to tap into this more, join Dharma and I on retreat in July 6th, 7th, and 8th in San Diego, Awakening Authenticity. The link is in my bio. It's freaking off the hook. That was an aside, but like registration is open now, and if you want a private room, you gotta jump on. I think there's only one left. So please, we'd love, just come. It's an amazing, if you have it available for you, it's like an amazing opportunity to tap into what I'm talking about here, which is trust. When we're trusting in the experience of being, what we hear, what we taste, what we smell, what we feel, when our attention is connected to that more so than the idea of me. Do you understand the difference? One is I'm trusting in my experience. The other is I'm trusting in my thoughts. One is I'm allowing this vital, like non-replaceable, non-graspable, I can't hold it either, experience of being alive in this moment, which is where I have the access to these words that I'm sharing with you right now, which you have the access to your true power in this moment only. Your truest connection to the Creator, to God, to Source, to whatever you call that. I call it God. And I can't really even talk about this stuff without bringing that in. Because if you don't trust that there's something holding you up in this moment, you're gonna start trusting in your mental concepts that will take you down a dark path. I often quote Annie Lamott here, and I'm gonna do it again. She says, my mind is like a bad neighborhood. I never go there alone, right? It's not like, it's like your mind is full of garbage. And it's not because it's your fault, it's just our nervous systems and our brain. And I talk about this, the negativity bias. There's a lot of reasons why the thoughts that we have in our minds are just predisposed towards like fear and negativity and what's wrong, because it's part of our survival instinct. But we are evolved from that. We're no longer running from predators. Life isn't as dangerous, not nearly so as it once was. Is what our ancestors went through. So it's up to us now to cultivate a quality of consciousness, to cultivate a quality of awareness that trusts in this wordless experience of being. And not just that, but this too. Intentionally being present with a quality of caring intent. So you might just sense right now, like as you're here and you're present, you're likely more present because I've been talking about it. Notice what it's like to also invoke a quality of caring intent. So I'm here. Hey, I'm here. And I'm also here with this like intention towards caring intent. like caring about you, caring about me, knowing that I'm doing this so that you too can connect more deeply with this truth of who you are. Knowing as a human being, me, I know that as a human being doing this deepens the quality of your life to such a degree that you can't help but share it with everyone else, because you know, as I know, that as you come into this awareness more and more too with me, that your happiness will rise, and that we're interconnected, yeah? So mine rises, like we're all in this together. And so this last question I'm going to leave you with today, and I want you to ask this of yourself. Anytime you remember, you might even write it down on a piece of paper. I say it a lot in yoga class. I actually have a poem that I wrote that I'll share with you later because I don't have it with me in this moment. But it ends with this line: how would it feel? How would it feel if I trusted nothing was missing? How would it feel if I trusted nothing was missing? Like right now, you might even type a comment in. How would it feel if you trusted nothing was missing? That question wakes up natural trust from within you. See, because our mistrust, when we move out of presence and move into thinking, that's all fueled from fear. And really a belief in that moment that something is missing. And it's not our fault that that's there. It's just part of the human condition, man. I don't know why, why we have this, why we're not just living in the state of trust, more often. But we are on this journey, and there's a reckoning happening here. A course we're correcting, not just for ourselves, but for our ancestors and for those ahead of us, for our kids, for future generations. And so remembering trust, noticing what you're putting your faith in, what you're putting your attention in. Am I trusting the imaginary me, which is a fear-based model of myself that lives in ideas, thoughts about the future or the past? Or am I trusting in presence, just this moment, noticing, even catching thoughts that want to steer me off course? Those thoughts that come in all the time that want to just pull you into a fear story or pull you into comparison, or they're so sticky, we have to say no. No, I'm here. This is where I choose to be. And then you might use that question: how would it feel if I trusted nothing were missing? And let yourself sort of marinate in that, right? Over time, that felt sense in the body will be something that's just more believed, and you don't have to ask the question anymore. But it can be a really useful one to help us get a sense of what that feels like, and then have the faith to stay there as long as you can. And when you get off course, compassion, kindness, always. And then begin again. It's never, ever too late to begin again. So I hope this served you today. Peaceful. Don't think I can do it. Good morning. You can do it, Nancy. You totally can. If I can, you can. I'm not just saying that to be like, I don't know. I know that like, if I can, you can. It's so trite, but it's true. Right? Just sensing. And sometimes it's like, in this work, we got to meet ourselves where we are. So if we're really activated, if we've been really triggered, it's not necessarily the time to do that question because we got to like reckon with the feelings and let those arise. But this is a really good thing to practice when we're pretty steady. If that makes sense. Yeah. So good to be with you. It was so awesome to be with you. Thank you for tuning in. Please do like and share this if it served you today. If you're on Instagram, I also do this on the Painted Yogi. And on Painted Yogi, it stays. So check it out there as well. And I'm Sending you so much love and many blessings. Do check out Awakening Authenticity in July. Link is in my bio. If you're on Facebook, there's the event page is up on Yogalution Movement. So check that out as well. All right. Blessings. Namaste.